If I can come back here every time, I know the club is going to do the same thing. So you can see it's quite a nice straight line then, isn't it? Brilliant. It's just such a simple shot for this pin. You've got to be in that nice preset position.
And then my feet follow.
Now just match those positions, that feeling on the impact. Yeah, brilliant.
Welcome back to Golf on Earth. We're back at the incredible Tommy Fleetwood Academy here in Dubai, joined by our favourite instructor, Tim Backhouse. Tim, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
I've been working very hard on my putting.
Yep.
But I need to improve my chipping.
Getting it closer to the hole.
Getting it closer to the hole, and hopefully my putts are then shorter and I hole more of them. But how important is the game from in and around 30 yards?
I mean, it's crucial. It's, if you look at the best golfers in the world, they make their money here. So an amateur golfer's never going to hit every green. The professionals rarely hit every green in a round of golf. It's really rare that you see someone hit 18 greens in regulation. So you're going to have to chip a few times in a round of golf. Bunker shots, lob shots, whatever it might be. So whether it be professional or whether it be against your friends, yeah, it's vital, really important area.
I've missed the green. It's a fairly simple up and down, but I think the problem with it is I have 4 different wedges and I'm never confident what kind of shot I should hit, whether I should throw it all the way there, whether I should try and pitch it shorter and roll it. I almost want to reset and get your thoughts on how I should play different shots around the green.
I think this is quite an interesting position we're in here with the 3 different flags. Obviously you don't get this on the golf course, but you get 3 different situations right now. The middle flag, kind of the straightforward one we're going to start with, I look at that and think, well, that's probably the easiest shot of the 3, even though the left one is closer. For me, when I was growing up, I was taught, get the ball on the ground as early as possible and get it running up to the flag, right? I think in the Middle East, certainly on the greens we play in, that is not quite as simple as that because you have such a lot of undulation. But this shot in particular, I think, well, I just don't see the point of hitting this high up in the air and risking the bad shot. So for me, I would probably be using a 50-degree wedge or something in that. I don't know what you have in your bag, but a 50-degree wedge or something similar. Getting it running, probably landing in the first third of the green and running 2 more thirds. So I look at it, as you were probably going to say then, I look at it thinking, well, where can I land it that's going to roll? Now, if you look at that one we're talking about, the middle shot, you can land that really early, get it rolling up to the green. Now, up to the flag. The back right flag changes it quite drastically because you've got a lot more fringe for a lot longer. So I don't really like landing it in the fringe around these kind of courses because you've got a lot more grain and the grass grabs it more than it would probably on a links course in the UK.
Yeah.
So that one you may pitch a bit further. That becomes kind of like 2/3 to 1/3. So 2/3 in the air, 1/3 on the ground. And then if this kind of short one is maybe 2/3, 1/3, maybe even a little bit more than that in the air. So that becomes a little bit tricky. So you got to figure out what club to use. So I think for the middle one, let's start with a 50, and then we'll have a little play around and see what club suits, what club fits you.
Haven't got a 50.
Okay, pitching wedge.
Got 52.
Okay,
wedge.
yeah, 52. I think we'll start with the 52.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. 52. Going to land it a little bit lower. Going to run out a little bit more. So let's try that to start.
The contact around the greens is getting better. So slightly longer shots you've taught me, I'd feel more confident throwing it towards the flag and it checking a bit and then stopping.
Okay.
But then it's not happening all the time.
And I think that's, if you're really, really good at it, and I don't mind that at all, I think you can have the confidence to pitch it up there and spin it. And I think a lot of the tour pros would play that shot around here because the greens are that much grainier, so you have to play it a bit more aggressively. I just think that in terms of where you're at with your game, if you want to get down into the kind of mid-70s, you don't need to do anything particularly amazing. You need to not waste shots. So if you stood here and hit your 60, for example, or 58 or whatever you have, and you just catch it slightly clean and it goes off the back, just think that if you're here in 2 and you make a 5 or a 6.
Yeah, well, I'm getting here more on par 5s.
Yeah, and then not making 4 or 5.
Not making 4. Whereas before seeing you, I'd never get anywhere near to the green. Now I'm almost getting, and I'll have this up and down birdie, but I'm not getting up and down.
And I think as well as that, if you look at it in terms of, you might then make a 7 as well from nowhere, and you think you fat it in front of you, you thin it across the green, you think then of course your brain goes into thinking, oh my God, I've just hit 2 of the best shots of the day and then I've wasted it. And so that's where I think, yes, okay, you should be trying to make birdie, but also you should not be making more than 5 from this situation.
Yeah.
Because I think, again, you look at this thing and it's, oh, this is an easy up and down. It's not. Again, we talk about statistics when we did the putting session. Statistics would say you won't get up and down that often. But if you can get it 50-50, that would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But 50-50 means you're getting up and down, or you're making a chip and then 2 putts, which is fine then, and you're not wasting shots. And I think that's more important than kind of going the other way and thinking, oh, I've got to get them down for every shot. So yeah, I think the 50-degree, 52-degree wedge, which is what you have, is a much safer shot, because even if you hit it slightly, it probably gets up there somewhere, and if you hold the putt, you think, well, you forget the chip was not the best strike. So yeah, let's start with a couple of 52s, just see what you get as a flight, and then we can look at it from there.
So how far shall I just play the shot?
Yeah, play the shot, but I think realistically you want to be landing this in the first kind of third of the green, I would say. It's going to come out a bit lower than what you normally do, because you're obviously using your 58 a lot more than this club. Yeah, so there's your prime example. You can't. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't spectacular, but it's gone out to what, 4 foot, 5 foot?
Yeah.
So it's not. No one's going to be like, oh, that shot you hit on the 5th. And I don't care when. And if I chip it right by the hole, I don't care what club it is. But you know, if you hit your 58 and landed it there and spun and it stopped, everyone like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. It's just you've got to get it up there.
Of course.
So only play the spectacular shot when you need to play it. And for every other shot, try and play the easiest shot that's available.
Shot you can.
So try a couple more, because what I always find interesting is when someone mishits one and it runs out close with this club, because you're like, okay, the margin of error is so much greater now. Brilliant. So you see, you hit it a little firm, that one, but
too far.
Exactly, but it's not the end of the world, that shot.
No, it's not the end of the world, but I'd like it to get better than that.
For sure, but you're also not sure you're not comfortable with that club yet.
No.
So you're pitching that a bit further than you need to. So try one more with that club, and then just try and think about where you're trying to land it and visualize it running out to the hole. Okay.
Okay.
Now that one's a bit heavy, right?
Heavy, yeah.
Look at where it's ended up.
I know.
If you hit that heavy with a 58, it'd be 3 or 4 yards in front of you. So shot choice, I think it's more sensible just to sometimes use the 52.
Yeah.
Now in terms of technique, if I borrow your club for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
So I think a really important feel, and I talk about this a lot with people, and actually my good friend Paul Waring, who's on tour, talks about this a lot in terms of matching the left wrist up with the shaft angle, the left arm and the left hip.
Okay.
So as you hit impact, ideally you would match those 3 kind of 4 points up.
Right.
So if you see it from this point of view, see there, they kind of all square up.
Right.
So if you then would say to be behind it, kind of like that way, suddenly your hands are back, you're giving the club more loft, a lot more variables involved then. So if you can feel that at impact, you see how I am there, just matching those points up. Then obviously the consistency of the way the club's going to come back to the ball is a lot easier to know, because I say this all day, every day. Very few people control the club face. Very few people know how hard the ball's going to come off the face, whether it be with a 58 or a driver. Yeah. And if you look where I am here, if I can come back here every time, I know the club is going to do the same thing. So if I hit this one, just to give you an example, see where I am now, I'm almost presetting that position. And then as I turn through, you can see
come out much better.
Matched it up, and you can see I'm just able to square the face up and know where the ball is going to land, but I'm not doing anything too crazy. Now, if I then switch to my 58, if you look at where I need to land it to get that ball, I've got to land this probably not far off where that ball is now. So I need to land it 3 or 4 yards short of the flag, like this.
That's how I'd play that shot.
I just think it's so much more difficult. I've actually struck that really well. Landed it a bit far. It's run on, and I'm nowhere near. If I gave you this ball and I said throw it to that flag, you would not go like that.
No.
You would literally just
Yeah.
underarm throw it. And if that's how I do it. And you'll see golfers sometimes, they just stand and they do this. They're visualizing how they want the ball to fly. So if I'm here, I just toss it forward, and you can see there's no.
Could go in.
Oh, I'd be much better if I could throw it. But you can see it's a simple way of thinking of it.
Yeah.
Now, if you think we're talking about these two flags. If I'm throwing to this flag, then I'm changing my mind on the flight, aren't I? So I'm more going like that way.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, with these clubs, with these shots, I can't spin them. I can, but I'd have to start my cricket up. But I've got to go higher with that shot.
Yeah.
But I've got no choice, almost. I could chip and run it through the fringe, but again, we spoke about it before. I don't really know what's going to happen if I kick it into the fringe, so I don't really want to do that if I can help it.
Yeah.
So that shot there, I've still got my 58 here, but I would definitely be going a fraction lower. But for you, just watching you in terms of your chipping technique, when I watched you then, you get a little bit on the inside quite quickly with it, and then you move your body quite a lot. And I think if we can get a little bit more of a stable movement, a bit more stability through the shot, you can see where I am here.
Yeah.
Yours is a bit of exaggerating, a bit there, and a bit more body movement. You're trying to almost.
Because I'm trying to like hit a draw with it.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit like the putting. I'm trying to do too much.
Extreme. Yeah, exactly.
I just need to simplify it.
Definitely, 100%. And I think if you think of the putting, think of where the shoulders were.
Yeah.
If you can just get that feeling of it going boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom. It's almost. I'm not going to say it's
easy.
It's easy because
it's an easy game.
If you look at where I am here, if I just match that up, you can see my shoulders do all the work.
But it's the contact as well.
Yeah.
I can hear it.
I know I've hit 2 in a row though, haven't I? I'm going to stop now. But you can hear the strike, but that's because I'm delivering the club in the same way.
Yeah.
Whereas if I threw one variable in, if I move my head back, and I don't say lifted the head, I didn't say that, right? If I went like this, everything all
changes.
of the chain reaction kicks in, right? So to have this matching up, I've got to be on top of it here. So if I go inside like this, it's really difficult to come back to here.
There's a more neutral takeaway.
Absolutely.
Straight back.
Yeah, 100%.
A bit like the putter.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah, you've just got a bit over the top with your curve.
So those 4 things were what, my wrist, the shaft, what were the other ones?
So the shaft,
my wrist,
the wrist, left forearm into your shoulder, into your left hip. So you'd be there. So you see how you match those? Yeah, that's it. So you can see it's quite a nice straight line then, isn't it?
It already feels so much
Now
different.
if I then did this,
yeah.
Look, it's going to be heavy probably. Or you might go this way too much. So you've got to be in that nice preset position.
Okay.
That looks good. Yeah.
Well, as long as it looks good.
Yeah, exactly. Nice shot. There you go. It's just such a simple shot for this pin.
Yeah, it is.
There's just no point in.
It's amazing how many times I won't get up and down, or I might then miss the par putt.
It's such a waste, yeah.
Which is such a waste. Okay.
And even though it's brand new, I know it's not brand new, the chipping, I just mean the shot is, you don't use a 52 very often at all, do you? So
not really,
you're not quite sure of how it's going to come off yet, but that's fine, you'll get used to that feel.
I feel like they are coming out right as well, and I feel like that's great. I think it's the same with the putting.
I think you could come, your feet are definitely aiming down the right side there, yeah.
Yeah, well, let's start again with the setup. But I mean, for this kind of shot, I would, so you see there's that little rough patch. I'd go just to the left of that, I guess. Club. You feel like that's square.
Yeah, that's good.
And then my feet follow.
Yeah, so bring your feet narrower. Yeah, and then you can just open this out a little and then just push into it slightly more. Then. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Weight more on my left foot.
Yeah, that's good. That's it. Now just match those positions, that feeling on the impact. Yeah. Brilliant. And again, that wasn't the best strike.
No, it wasn't.
But it's rolled out, it's got it's got to a position where you can hold the putt. And that's my point really with this club. So same again, into your setup, go a little narrower. Yeah, go quite left-sided with this one, so your eyes will be forward of the ball. So you're looking at, no, the ball position was fine, sorry. But you're almost feeling like you're almost in line with this with your eyes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it, yeah.
Okay. In front of the ball?
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Really good.
That felt better.
Yeah.
I felt much better.
Yeah.
The sound is, same with the putting, the sound is...
Yeah, you can hear it, just no...
It's the instant feedback.
It's interesting because there's so many different... everyone has a different opinion on golf, of course, but chipping and everything. But if you look at it from a scientific point of view, you've got to have the club working downwards to get some sort of strike on it. And I know I talk about it a lot in terms of trying to shallow it out in terms of you can use the bounce and all this, but actually you have to have downward strike. And I think people get caught up so much trying to really use use the bounce so much that they scoop it, and that's really, it's almost impossible to know what's going to happen to the club face.
All right, let's try and hit one more, and then I'll show you another place I would more regularly miss the green than a pretty simple up and down.
In the water.
Yeah. How's that set up?
Yeah,
looking?
perfect. Yeah, and again, just try and match those positions, those feelings through the left hip. Great shot. Yeah, really good. It was too small a swing.
I was a bit scared of it.
Yeah, you looked a bit like you didn't hit, but I really like how you moved on that one. It was just too small.
Too small.
Yeah, that's good. Be positive with this one. Yeah, there you go. Brilliant.
Yeah,
really good.
That does feel better.
You can see, because I know it sounds obvious, but you're controlling the face now. And I think the thing is, as soon as the club comes to here, the face is doing a lot of manipulation, and I know that it's obviously not controlling you, but it looks like then once you let it go, the face is then controlling your body. Whereas you're definitely controlling the face all the way through the movement. And then I talk about this a lot, but my right hand is the loft. So if I'm talking about the left wrist matching up with the left hip.
Yeah.
But if my right hand's here, I've got more loft. And if my right hand's there, I've got less loft. That visually is easier to look at the left wrist. But if I wanted to hit one a bit higher, I could put the ball slightly forward, and you can see then the loft is even more maintained, so you can get a bit more height, which I presume what you're about to tell me now, because you miss more often than somewhere else. So.